from the players and expect of them going forwards?
Well, you'd hope that it's a massive game changer, as far as the mentality of the group, confidence of the group. You're right. And the whole scaboodle really was, all of a sudden the players love the fans love the players, and that's the atmosphere that you can win football matches in. Once you know that both sides are fighting for each other, then you can become a pretty big force, and sometimes it needs a game like that to get that going. And I know we haven't got a lot of games to get it going, but better late than never.
And what's the secret now to getting back-to-back performances and doing it on the road?
Yeah, it is. The back-to-back performances becomes really important. I was really pleased last night, and I did do a lap of my living room listening to Burton and Carlisle, because funny enough I also think Carlisle are in it now. I know they drew, they nearly won, and that would have been them. Sort of, we'd have had to have won 3 games to bring Carlisle back in it. But the draw with Burton scoring in the 97th minute or something after missing a penalty means that actually 2 wins, as long as Carlisle lose their next 3, which they'd have to, then that's another club that you're still chasing actually. They've got some difficult games, so it's one of them. I'm looking at it. You've got to have hope in your own group, and Tuesday night gave us hope in our group. They put a game together that I recognised, and that's the big thing for me. And individuals affected the game, and when individuals affect the game in a team shape, you can demoralise the opposition. And with all due respect to Cambridge, that's what I thought we did. We did it. A crowd did it, and our players did it.
And now if the players have got a little bit more belief maybe from getting a win, can you demand a bit more of them?
Well, yeah, I'm always going to be demanding, they know that. I'm happy to give them a little kiss on the top of their bald heads sometimes if they've done well. But I'm also going to get into them if they do drop below any sort of standard. The standard they've set is high from Tuesday night, but it doesn't stop you keeping more passes, keeping possession a bit more. It doesn't stop you putting in more chances. It doesn't stop you being braver, being stronger. But we're going in the right direction, and that's the least now we should expect from the team, and certainly individuals. So that puts you in a decent place.
Northampton obviously still with a faint outside hope of reaching the playoffs. I suppose they need to win. Pressure on them. Is that a good thing for Cheltenham?
Yeah, I think it can be. It'll depend on how convincing their management has been with the players that they've still got that outside chance. I mean, when you've got an outside chance, of course you're still in it, and everyone should be in the zone and concentrating. But some players are on holiday already in their heads, I'm sure, all over the country, all those that are not playing for much, and we're playing for a massive prize, and that is to stay in the division. So it's whether our hopes are greater and our needs are greater.
Obviously, you were manager there 4 years ago. What sort of reception are you expecting going back?
I never know actually, because sometimes you read websites and some people hate you whether you're top of the league or it doesn't matter. But that's people. But I pretty much enjoyed my time there. It was a big job. I think the chairman does a fantastic job there, David Cardoza, and I got on well with him and the board, and we tried very hard to change the group. The group was in a bit of a losing mode at the time, and when I went there, and we ended up staying in the division because it was with 2 or 3 games to go, because that group were on a pretty much a losing run, and anything I needed, what we needed, the chairman came up with, and he was very supportive. So I've only got good thoughts about Northampton from my time there. It's just that the next few managers as well didn't quite do it, and I really want Northampton to move on, because I think David Cardozo, the chairman, deserves it for the work that he puts in.
Just not this Saturday, I'm sure. I mean, are there similarities though in terms of how Cheltenham were when you came in here and how Northampton were?
Yeah, there are similarities, but I mean, obviously I had a lot more games at Northampton. It was sort of like middle-ish of the season. I'm not quite sure how many. And there was a lot of players there that were not quite doing the job, that were on pretty long contracts. And then we had to try and get players in, and some produced it and some didn't. But anyway, they stayed in the division at that time. You know, everybody was happy that happened. But Northampton, I know as a club and as a chairman, they want to do a little bit more, and so should every club have that ambition. So it's it's one of those things that it was another club of mine that I didn't have any problems with, and I don't normally walk away from too many clubs with feeling bad about a chairman or a football club. You know, I give my best. I know they generally give their best to me, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Looking at your squad, how are Lee Vaughan and Joe Hanks? Because obviously, one missed Tuesday night and the other got injured during it.
Yeah, I think Joe will be all right. I think Joe has got over his illness. I think Vaughan will struggle a little bit. We'll wait and see, but I'm pretty sure that anything with a hamstring is generally weeks rather than days. But we know Darrell Berry can come in. He came in and did a good job, and we were still solid and we were still potent from that position. So it's, again, as we say, it's Darrell's opportunity now to have a little bit of a run in the team.
Didn't quite have a full bench on Tuesday night. Gloucester City had a couple of lads out there on loan. Obviously, they've now secured their safety. Would you think of recalling the likes of Harry Williams and young Bowen?
Yeah, I think I was going to have a chat with the staff today, because they know them well. Obviously, Russell knows that group of lads really well. And, it's early when we do this interview, so this morning I'll have a chat with them and see if we need to bring any back. Jamal's the same, he's, where's he, at Cleve or something? Yeah. And I think, so we'll have a chat about that. So it's something that I'll let you know tomorrow, but certainly we're thinking about that scenario.
Have you got anyone else coming back into the reckoning, or is the treatment table still as pretty much as it was?
No, it's pretty much as it was, because they were pretty big injuries that they all got. Obviously, Jordan's out for the season probably. We've got Will Packwood has probably started thinking now about. I'm not sure whether he's started yet. Our physio, he'll tell us how things are going there. And maybe Wes is not going to be too far away. I don't think he'll be available for the next couple of games, but certainly him and Will probably be joining us again before the end of the season.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
A really sort of rousing performance on home turf. How can you go about putting that into action away from home?
Well, you've got to get the lads into a mental state. It doesn't matter whether they're on a park pitch or Wembley. Whether they're in their back garden or someone else's back garden. They've got to go and perform, and they showed that. They showed no inhibitions the other night. And the supporters recognise that. We recognise it. Anyone can. You recognise that, and that's what we call being up for it, being in the zone, putting in that beyond the call of duty effort. And I thought the supporters, there was 2,500 there, but when 2,500 people make a noise, it's like 10,000 people. And when that's a positive support, like it was, unbelievable, because no one was even moaning about mistakes or missed shots, or everybody was a real positive mood, and then it can be like 10,000. So I'm sure if we get 500 or so go up to Northampton, I'm sure there'll be a few, and they can give that support that they gave us at home, albeit a quarter of them. Then again, we'll be stronger for it, because players are only human, and if they've got someone on their backs every time they make a mistake, and at this level, unfortunately, players are going to make mistakes, then they just go into their shell a bit. But if people are saying, look, come on, we're with you, give it a go, and then see how it is after 90 minutes, they can make a massive effect. It'll give us a massive boost with that positive support. Now, listen, I can only put it out there and say that's human nature, because we all know that if somebody's behind you now saying what a stupid question, and should you be wearing that today, and and then you're trying to interview, you don't interview in the same sort of way.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It's the same as if somebody's behind me giving me stick on in games, which I'm pleased to say nobody has done yet. So if somebody's positive though, then you're in a positive attitude. You've got a smile on your face like you have, and everything's a lot more potent, more aggressive it's an aggressive in a happy sort of way. You want to do well for somebody.
There's that intent, positive intent.
It is, and it's wanting to do well for somebody.
You mentioned that intent right from the start, from Tuesday. From Tuesday night though. That I think the crowd got on the back of that because they saw that attacking intent.
Yeah,
so it's going to be
really
that fast start's going to be important again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You might not get a goal with a fast start, so you mustn't get too worried about it, but you've got to keep that momentum, that intent. That's what we did. The wide players did that, the forwards did that, the defenders and the midfielders were supporting that with their passing, and of course the crowd were really enjoying it, because up their end there must have been 7 or 8 opportunities that just flashed past the goal sort of thing, where one of them, and that creates a good atmosphere as well. So it's a good night for the club, and if we can, if we get out of it and we show that intent again, and we show enough to stay in the division, then we'll look back at that was the game that turned it round.
You want that to be the turning point to say that.
Well, it's got to be, because more people did more things. The whole club looked a league higher. Do you know what I mean? And that was important. So it did give everybody hope, and then it stops all the negatives and everything. So now the hardest thing now is to keep it going, and that's what we've got to reiterate with them. We'll have our review in here this morning, and what went well, there'll be a lot of bigger list, and there won't be much on what didn't go so well. So I'm pleased about that. As you're privy to the list up here when you come in, so you know what I'm talking about.
Cheers, Gary.